about a heaven in Alberta, where they've got all hell for a basement. Yeah, I lost my way, but I can't tell about a heaven in Alberta, where they've got all hell for a basement.
All right. Hi, everyone. Frankie here. New West Reset. Hello. How you doing? How's it going, eh? Welcome back. Thank you very much for joining me here and shooting in for another live show. New West Reset Live. Where are we at, man? Episode 92. Can you believe it? Fantastic. Thank you for joining me. Thanks for winding down your weekend on this Sunday, November the 17th, 2024. Just a wee bit past 5 p.m. local time here in southwestern Alberta, up in Canada land there, eh, bud? And she wasn't bad out there today, living up to purty Alberta. She was purty out there today. Went up to like 10 Celsius today, just low 50s, like 52 or 53 Fahrenheit or something. I don't know, but terrific. This time last year was like brass monkey weather, so, you know, we're doing all right. Doing all right. How you doing? Hello. Thank you for joining me here. As mentioned, New West Reset Live, episode 92. Today we're looking at Canadian architecture from the past world. Much like you'd gather from the thumbnail, not what you would expect necessarily from here in Canada. But before I get ahead of myself here, let's say hello to everybody in the chat. Let me know how you're doing there in the box. How your weekend's going. By the way, thanks for winding down your weekend here with yours truly on this Sunday fun day. It's now my favorite day of the week, so it's thanks to you good people. As mentioned, beautiful day. The sun just setting now. And yeah, wasn't bad. A little bit of wind gusts, but it was the warm winds, so quite enjoyed it out there today. Wiley's here. Thanks for shooting in there, bud. Mad Fiddler in the box. Hello. Howdy, Kathy. Kathy Childers is here. Carmichael's here as well. Our old friend, Old World, Michigan. How's she going there, eh, bud? Thanks a lot for shooting in there, eh? Good morning to you, hippie. Or is it evening? Evening, late evening. Good night, I guess, to you, hippie. All the way over there in Wales, eh? Thanks for joining. Really appreciate it. So yes, as mentioned, Canadian architecture from past world. Look at stuff that they tell us built pre-WW1, but really I've gathered a few photos for a folder of a couple dozen photographs of buildings actually built what they tell us pre-1900. I don't think I have any in there, any more recent or whatever, younger than that. I don't know. But anyway. So as mentioned, it was a beautiful day today. So I went out actually. Out. I went oot in a boot. A guy went on walkabout. Okay. A fella said, what can I do today? Because it's nice out and I've got the day off. Decided to go on walkabout, shoot some video footage. I got the new gimbal thingy that I've practiced with, but I'm still getting the hang of. So brought that along, and because the sun was shining, it was nice to visit a couple of old world buildings fairly close to where I live. Like 15-minute walkabout, and bada boom, bada bing, Bob's your uncle. Bob's your uncle over here, eh? With Frankie Fingers. So, Tommy, where have you been, huh? I've been watching Newest Reset. Huh? Well, it's Newest Reset. It's this thing on YouTube. He goes around, he does his boots on the ground thing. They'll tell you.
Say you care.
So, yeah, I took a little looky-loo around a couple of places nearby. Hooked my ocular sphericals onto some stuff. Took some video. So that'll be coming up. Now, this is, probably the last video or two before the snow flies. And normally by now, my boots on the ground videos, you see ice and snow by now, right? We're well into November here. But a guy's been able to dodge a bullet with Old Man Winter here so far. So, whew, yeah, nice. Yes, thank you, Hippie. Yeah, these actually, the places that I filmed, we visited before on the channel. Both of them some time ago. One of them at least 2 years back. Now the other one maybe a year and a half ago or so. But anyway, with the gimbal and able to zoom in on some of the finer details. So yeah, you will find them on the location map. Thank you, Hippie. Link below for New West Reset location map. You basically click on that and it opens up. You see my icon. This here thing. You click on that and it opens up the side panel with the link to the video and a quick little blurb. These are places that I've hit in Calgary and area here in southern Alberta. Even gone up to central Alberta, up to Edmonchuck there, up to Edmonton there, eh? And spent the day up there running around filming stuff. Links below as well for BitChute, MeWe, a guy's email. If you want to throw me a line or send me some photos or, whatever the case may be, you want to reach out and maybe do a chat. You want to chat and throw a guy some ideas or whatever the case may be, man. Yeah. Also, links below for I gotta do it. It's the algorithm thing. I think even saying algorithm messes with the algorithm. But anyway, welcome to everybody on the HooTubes and the Bumble. Thanks for joining. Also, links below for what we're going to cover here. We've got the usual Wackypedia shenanigans, but also the Canadian Encyclopedia, which I'm sure is just as kooky and wacky and shenanigan-y. That's not a word at all. Oh, yeah, for sure there, Bod. Carmichael saying, talking about Canadian architecture. Talking about Canadian architecture. Tirana, the T-Dot, has some pretty old world buildings, and they look much older than the years that say. Yeah, that's kind of the case of what we're going to be looking at here. But yeah, especially around Cabbagetown there, eh? Been there. Wish I had the eyes I have now when I was there. Because while there were no cell phones and I didn't have a camcorder back then, I definitely would have been the old shutterbug with the old school camera and taken a lot of shots. And at least I would have been able to scan those photographs. You know how it is. Yeah, it should be. It should be colder, snow, I'll take it while it lasts. Algae Rhythm. Yeah, that's that new Canadian R&B singer. Algae Rhythm. Yeah. Thank you very much, Hippie. Yeah, guys, PayPal if you want to throw a guy a couple of Canadian doll hairs. It's, it just goes to my manicure fund, eh? And I buy donuts. Scott Pike in the box. How you doing? Oh, you're in Cabbage Town. There you go. There you go. Nice to see you, Scott. Carmichael is in Cabbage Town. What are the odds? What are the odds? Anyway, as mentioned, links below for everything. So we'll probably take a look at that, take a mid-show break, give you a sneak peek at your upcoming midweek vintage footage. As always, every Wednesday. And this one's a bell ringer or something. A toe tapper, a head shaker, a rump shaker. And it's by Algae. No, it's not at all. But anyway, and then when we come back, we'll have a look at the photographs. What do you think? Sound pretty decent, as the kids probably don't say anymore. It's pretty decent. If it's bad, that's sus. And if it's good, it's decent. Shorthand speak for decent, I guess. Very Orwellian. Anyway. Before we get it rolling, if you haven't already, give a guy one of these. Again, speaking of algorithm, just helps me to, helps to push a guy out into the thing. Thank you to everybody who's already shared and subscribed. Appreciate that. That helps enormously. And if you're watching this after the live, after the fact, thank you very much for your support as well. Greatly appreciate it. And going to take a sip of my water. Dead air. Anyway, it's amateur hour around here. So what do you say we get the ball rolling here with basically the time period that we're going to be looking at? It's what they're calling sort of the Victorian era architecture. Queen Victoria. Oh, hello, loyal subjects. I'm so amused that you've decided to name this type of architecture at this time frame after yours truly, your rightful true monarch, Queen Victoria. Anyway, it's a terrible impression, but let's see what they say specifically about Canada land. As mentioned, links in the description below. This is the Wikipedia for Victorian architecture in Canada. Canada's chief Dominion architects designed numerous federal buildings over the course of the Victorian era. If you're wondering what that is, that's basically the government of Canada appoints some dudes that are architects or whatever to say, hey, can you design us a bunch of fancy government buildings and whatnot? And they're like, oh, for sure, they're bought. Just get a couple of fellas together, some coffee and some donuts, maybe a couple of wobbly pops and a burger, and we'll just get right on it there, eh, bud? Anyway. Thomas Fuller's completion of the Canadian Parliament buildings in 1866. Wow, that's early in the Canadian timeline. We weren't even a country yet there, eh? Well, it's like a year ahead. We got her done just in the nick of time. Don't worry, boys, we got her licked with a year to spare. 1867, Canada officially becomes, country rather than a British colony. And yeah, got her by a year. Nice. In particular, established a high Victorian Gothic influence over Canadian architectural design for several consecutive decades. Some of those fun terms, right? Not just Gothic or Victorian, but no, high Victorian Gothic. There's some examples of what we're talking about. We'll have a look at some of these, some of the photo files, so we can zoom in on them right nice. It's looking very phallic. What the heck's going on here? One of the 4 grotesques at the corners of the Peace Tower. Where's that? Ottawa, of course. So yeah, just a quick snippet. This is basically, it's got everything: US, India, the UK, Australia, Sri Lanka. Look at that. A whole schwack of places. So as mentioned, links below for that. Yeah, the Peace Tower, Penis Tower. Penis Tower. I don't know. So odd. It's just a funny name to go along with that image. So there's a fella here that did a lot of the architectural work, a lot of the design work, shall we say, for many of these buildings in this time period. This Francis Rattenbury fella. Now he comes to Canada by way of England. He lived here, but he was never an expat. He was always maintained a permanent residence in the UK. But that being said, he spent a major portion of his career, so they say, here in Canada land, over in British Columbia, just designing the hell out of buildings for all over the place. So I decided I'd quickly just kind of pin him and see what's going on with this fella. Because as per usual, they, well, let's just say they like to hang about, a couple of dozen buildings off a fella all the time. This is one of those guys. Francis Rattenbury. Fancy name. Francis Mawson Rattenbury. Mawson? What kind of name is that? Anyway, he was a British architect, although most of his career was spent in British Columbia, Canada, where he designed the province's legislative building, among other public commissions. Oh, people just come up to me, hey, Bob, I'll pay if you design me something. Sure, I'll get it done for you there, eh? Divorced amid scandal. He was deleted in England at the age of 67 by his second wife's lover. What in the Sam Steele's going on with this guy? Really? Right out of the gates, within the second sentence. Huh. Wow, okay. Well, architectural career. Rattenbury was born in 1867, but he died at the age of 67.
I don't believe you.
I'm just saying. Anyway, in Leeds, England, he began his architectural career with an apprenticeship in 1884 to the Lockwood and Mawson Company. Wait a second, isn't his middle name is Mawson? But he worked for a company called Lockwood and Mawson.
Well, that's just silly.
Silly, yes. Idiotic, yes.
I don't get it, but okay. Sure. Okay. Whatever you say there, buddy. Sure. Anyway, moving along here. In 1891, he arrived in Vancouver, in the Canadian province of British Columbia. The province, anxious to show its growing economic, social, and political status, was engaged in an architectural competition to build a new legislative building in Victoria. The new immigrant entered, signing his drawings with the pseudonym ABC Architect. and won the competition. Yeah, that'll get you the job every time. Is if you just scribble ABC Architect on a bunch of your drawings and send them into the official Canadian government as a proposal to build a legislative building in Victoria, which is the capital city of British Columbia, by the way. Yep, that'll just get you done right quick, bud. No problem. Does this sound right to any of you, or is it just me? Because this just sounds goofy. I remember what? Third paragraph into this song and dance already?
Thought we wouldn't notice, but we did.
Okay, so despite many problems, including going over budget by 400 grand, the British Columbia Parliament buildings were officially opened in 1898. That's still quite early on in the narrative. But anyway, the grand scale of his 500-foot or 150-meter long facade, central dome, and two end pavilions. We'll just give you a pavilion on each end, eh? Not one pavilion, two. The richness of its white marble and the use of the currently popular Romanesque, there we go, Romanesque style contributed to it being seen as an impressive monument for the new province. Yeah, they were just newly joined Canada land. And boom, here's your massive Capitol building, essentially. Okay, sure. Rattenbury's success in the competition garnered him many commissions in Victoria and other parts of the province, including additions to the legislative buildings in 1913 to 1915. Oh, so he came back to do some additions on the same buildings. Okay, sure. Well, that way they don't have to dream up some other guy to attribute the work to, I guess. In 1900, he was commissioned to design the 18-bedroom, 3-story Burns Manor in Calgary. Look at that. For his close friend, Pat Burns. Boom. Oh, of course. Yeah, just my prairie mansion, just my manor. It's my house. Want to come in for tea? It's fine. Nothing fancy going on here at all. That's nice. Yeah, it's too bad that's not standing in Calgary anymore. Yeah, sure, you got to knock that down for some reason. That would have been just down the street from me, by the way. He designed a Paardeberg Gate, no idea. 1901, a memorial to South African war soldiers opposite the legislative buildings in 1901. Ah, South African. Okay. The Boer War and whatnot. He worked on the Canadian Pacific Railway as their Western Division architect. So, of course, he designed a bunch of the famous so-called railroad hotels that just look like, castles, stuff like the Banff Springs Hotel, which, of course, we'll have a look at. His personal life. Oh, here we go. This is going to be crazy. At 25, he moved to Vancouver, placed an ad in the Vancouver Daily World announcing his arrival, along with all the credentials of have been trained by the influential English architect Henry Francis Lockwood, although Lockwood had died when Rattenbury was just 11. Huh? Okay. Okay. Shenanigans. Soon after winning the competition for the legislative buildings of Victoria, Rattenbury was involved in a series of financial ventures. He planned to supply meat and cattle to prospectors during the Klondike Gold Rush, and he ordered 3 steam trains to serve the Yukon Territory. The investments eventually became profitable, and after WW1, however, his luck turned sour with the failure of some financial speculations, eventually leading to conflicts with his business partners. Oh, this guy's shady. See, now we're sifting through the rat turds and getting to the good dirt, the pay dirt. Great point there by Scott Pike in the box. No fire in your name is Burns. Wink, wink. No. Yeah, fire if your name is Burns. Yeah, Wiley got it. There you go. Redonkulous. Oh, I did almost a whole live stream on that. Carmichael. I think I called it destroying a castle to save a factory or something like that. Goes back a ways, but yeah, that place is off the rails, son. So his personal life also began to show strains at this time. In 1923, he left his wife Florence Eleanor Nunn, whom he'd married in 1898, and his adult children Frank and Mary, for the 27-year-old, twice married Alma Packenham. Who the heck is Alma Packenham? She was an English-Canadian songwriter and accused deleter. Great. His maltreatment of Florence, which included having the heating and lights turned off of their home after he moved out, and the public flaunting of his affair with Alma, led his former clients and associates to shun him, and the couple soon left Victoria. Way to self-destruct, buddy. See, this guy's just a schmuck. But then they pin all these glorious buildings on him and say, yeah, don't worry about him gallivanting around town. Just running through broads, if you pardon my parlance. You know, hey, he's running through a couple of tomatoes here back in the Victorian era, this guy. You know, he's got time to mess around and goof around with all these women, and but meanwhile, he's just knocking up these buildings, too. It's not the only thing he's knocking up. Whoa, hey, lady. Yeah, he married a nun. Scott Pike in the box. He mistreated a nun. You never mistreat a nun. Just ask for trouble. Mr. Beast fan in the box. Howdy. Welcome. Oh, no, his deletion here. In Bournemouth, in the UK, Rattenbury's financial problems continued, causing his relationship with Alma to deteriorate. She began an affair with George Percy Stoner, their 18-year-old chauffeur. Stoner had been recruited through an advertisement in the Bournemouth Daily Echo and had been living a sheltered, largely friendless life with his parents before he moved into the Rattenbury's home, the Villa Madeira on Manor Road. This is just like a radio soap opera. Speaking of old-timey days. In the early hours of the 23rd of March, 1935, Rattenbury was discovered in his sitting room with severe bumps to the noggin. He had sustained a series of blows with a carpenter's mallet. The blows savage enough to remove the back of his dome and cause his false toothes to fall out. Excuse me for laughing, but come on, this was like 100 years ago almost, eh? So, 90 years ago. It's fine. He did 4 days later. His wife confessed, but Stoner admitted to the housekeeper that he had actually carried out the dirty deed. Done's dirt's cheap. Oh, dirty deeds. Anyway, Alma Rattenbury and Stoner were both charged, although Alma was to retract her confession after her elder son Christopher visited her in prison. Stoner was convicted and sentenced to be deleted. They commuted it to life following the submission to the Home Secretary of a petition signed by over 300,000 people who felt that the young man had been manipulated in committing the deletion by the older woman. Here's to you, Mrs. Robinson. Okay, so she was represented by this guy. She was acquitted of deleting and being an accessory after the fact. But she committed self-deletion, yikes, a few days later, on the 4th of June, 1935, poking herself with a letter opener style pointy object 6 times in the chest. Come on. 3 of which penetrated her heart before throwing herself into the River Stour at Christchurch. Take off. Take off. I don't even. I just. I don't.
You guys have officially made me lose my marbles!
I'm not buying it. I am not buying it. Stoner served 7 years sentence. He was released early to join the army and fight in WW2. Oh, great. He married in 44, fathered a daughter in 48, and he and his wife led a quiet life in Bournemouth area, although he briefly attracted the attention of the media again when he was given 2 years probation for indecently assaulting. Great. You can read the rest. This guy's a piece of work in a public toilet in 1990. Wow, geez, it's kind of old at that point to be doing any kind of. Anyway. Oh, of course, yeah, he had the Alzheimer's. Okay. Died at 83. All right, well, there you go. So despite his outstanding career as an architect, he was buried in an unmarked grave in the Wimborne Road Cemetery close to his home. 2007, a headstone was erected as a lasting memorial, paid for by a family friend. So, what do you think of that? There it is. Anyway. Matt Fiddler says, reading ahead in the murder mystery seems like it would make a good Lifetime channel chick flick. Yeah, or one of those, like a, one of them CSI shows. Well, actually, no, it couldn't be CSI because this takes place in the 20s and 30s, but you get what I'm driving at. One of those murder mystery type shows. Come on. There's just no. Can there really be? Is that, or I don't know. Call me crazy. Oh, I should open that back up again, though, because I wanted to actually see what the list of buildings for this clown. I forgot to share that there, eh? This guy was busy. He was getting busy, and he was busy. List of buildings. Here we go. The road, I'm pronouncing it road, I don't know, house in Vancouver, built in 1893. The Nanaimo Courthouse in Nanaimo, British Columbia on Vancouver Island, 1895. Bank of Montreal, Victoria, 1896. Now the Irish Times Pub. All right, to toy, to tiddly toy. Sorry. Bank of Montreal in Rossland. That's in BC as well, I think. 1898. Bank of Montreal in Nelson, British Columbia, 1899. Lieutenant Governor's Residence in Victoria, British Columbia, 1901. Oh, there you go. Destroyed by fire in 57. Yeah, those sandstone and brick buildings, highly flammable. That's what I used to light my campfires. When a fella goes camping, I don't bring quick starter or barbecue lighter fluid or anything like that. No, I bring me a couple of bricks, and it's a nice couple of big chunks of sandstone there, eh, bud? Throw those in the fire pit, throw some kindling on it, toss a match in there. You gotta stand back though, because it'll get your eyebrows. It'll get them every time. Victoria High School, Fort Street location, Victoria, 1901. Demolished in the 50s, of course, 53. Why not? Phoenix Hospital in Phoenix, Arizona? Really? Or is there a Phoenix, British Columbia? I don't know. 1901. Demolished, but we're not even going to tell you when that was demolished. Same as the Burns Manor in Calgary. We're not going to tell you what happened to that. He built it in 03. Janet Clay House. This guy was building banks, houses, courthouses. Chateau Prince Rupert. Oh, he designed it, but didn't get built. Of course, Railroad Hotel. Pacific Railway Steamship Terminal in Victoria. Crystal Garden in Victoria. And the Merchants Bank in Nanaimo. British Columbia. So he had time to do all that. But he was also married twice, had a schwack of kids, had a chick on the side. It was bebopping all over the place between Victoria, which is the far western part of Canada, and the UK, which is closer to Eastern Canada than Eastern Canada is to Western Canada. If that makes any sense. This is just like it could be. Yeah, just that's why now they have you see back in the old-timey days it would say, post no notes. You see it on buildings, you see it on like lampposts, street light posts. Post no notes. Yeah, because it's already been there, done that. Everything's already been claimed by old world post-it notes, sticky notes. Oh, sheesh. Anyway, this guy put together, you can see here quite a few buildings, and a nice mix of all kinds of stuff: courthouses, banks, ferry terminals, manors and mansions. Sorry, not ferry terminals, steamship terminals. I don't know. I'm just, call me skeptical. I ain't buying it. Anyway, one more quick article here before we take a quick mid-show break. This is from the Canadian Encyclopedia.ca. CA is for Canada, eh? And this is titled Canadian Architecture, 1867 to 1914. So basically in that time period between when Canada Land became Canadian Land and the start of WW1. So between Confederation, that's when all of the states, I hate it when this does that. It's just an edit. No, go away. It won't go away. Anyway, when all the provinces decide to get together and let's form a country, and throw it out there to the crown and see what the Queen says, and she says, we feel that we are amused enough to allow you, to grant you a charter, to allow you to become an independent country. Anyways, the outbreak of WW1, for Canada's development from British colony to modern, largely urban, industrial, and effectively self-governing nation was reflected in its architecture. It's a mouthful. Basically, in that, what are we looking at here? 33 plus 14. So that 47-year time period. Not even 5 decades. Between Confederation and the outbreak, yada, yada, okay, blah, blah, blah. In 1914, Western Canada had become annexed and settled. The country had expanded from a cluster of provinces hemmed in by the Atlantic seaboard and the Great Lakes to a country claiming sovereignty over the whole northern half of the continent. This belongs to us now, eh? All this stuff up here, eh? Anywhere that you get maple syrup, that's where Canada, that's ours now, eh, bot? Jesse Nix is here. Hello, Jesse. Welcome. DN in the box. Hello, old friend. Good to see you. Under capitalism and liberalism, finance and industry assumed new importance, creating two substantial metropolises, Montreal and Toronto. By 1911, Montreal had almost 500,000 peoples living there. Toronto, well over 300,000. Several regional centers were also flourishing, with Winnipeg and Vancouver in the lead. The federal government's nationalistic mercantile policies gave it an expanded presence in the Canadian society, one reflected in government buildings of the period. There's send me there's a lot of grammatical and spelling errors in this, or am I just a terrible, terrible reader? Maybe it's that Canadian public school system and that whole Rockefeller education protocol there, eh? Cousin Vinny is in the box. Good to see you, Vincent. Cousin Vinny. The foreign influence in architecture swung mainly from British to American, but in architecture, as in culture generally, Canadians sought unique forms to express the character of their youthful country. Less than half a century of rapid change had resulted in something approximating an architectural revolution. Oui, oui. In 1867, architecture was a marginal pursuit and, where practiced, was dominated by Victorian stylistic revivals. Most building was vernacular, copied from known and traditional models. I wonder if this was written in French and then translated into English, because it's just very weird. But anyways, anyone could call himself an architect. Professionally trained designers were few, although a small number of British-trained architects had established themselves in major Canadian towns in the 2 decades before Confederation. One of these, Thomas Fuller, had just completed the Canadian Parliament buildings in Ottawa. 1866. A forceful version of high Victorian Gothic that was destined to exercise long-term influence on Canadian public design. A holdover from the Renaissance revival of the 1830s to 1850s, the Italianate style, usually rendered in brick, with bracketed cornices, often wooden, and rows of round or flat arched windows, dominated commercial streets. Houses, except large and expansive ones built according to fashionable styles, were usually plain and wooden, with their sides or gable ends turned to the street. More public, self-conscious design was under the sway of what is termed picturesque eclecticism. I've never even heard that before. Take off. Just making up stuff now. Just making up stuff. In the 1870s, the Second Empire style, I'm having trouble keeping track of all these styles, eh? French in origin, so then we went from Italian to French. American by adoption, and marked by rich classical sculptural effects and high mansard roofs. Isn't it roofs? Roofs. I don't know. Sometimes slate. Was the dominant mode for public buildings. The style was applied to hotels, railway stations, city halls, especially in Montreal's Hotel de Ville and provincial legislatures, including those of Quebec and New Brunswick. So federal buildings, all built in the same style. Second Empire in buildings in the 1870s, St. John, New Brunswick. That same style was applied to an owner who wanted to make a grand statement for his house. Yeah, the Shaughnessy House. You know, a one-year wonder. Churches and other prominent semi-public building types of the period still tended to rely on Victorian Gothic. High Victorian Gothic or just Victorian Gothic? Anyway, and would do so for several decades yet, as Joseph Connolly's Church of Our Lady in Guelph, Ontario suggests. Some Catholic churches, however, most prominently Montreal's Cathedral of Queen Mary of the World, favored a revived version of Roman Baroque. See, it's a word salad. I'm doing a live show about this. This is my topic, and I'm getting bored of this. They do it on purpose. It's a damn word salad.
Show me all the blueprints.
Despite the president of the federal parliament, Victorian Gothic was less adaptable to large public buildings, although examples can be cited from as late as the mid-1880s. Barber and Barber's Winnipeg City Hall was built in 2 years. Yeah, sure. And often referred to as the Gingerbread City Hall is a notable, if eccentric, example. Yeah, I got a picture of that. Wait till you see this if you haven't already. You're going to take one look at that and go, Frankie, of course that was built in just 2 years. What do you think? It should take a decade or so to build something like that back then or more? Come on. 2 years is fine. So the official highfalutin Canadian federal government under the leadership of John A. Macdonald, that is Sir John A. Macdonald, if you don't mind, and the Conservative Party built for itself aggressively, and with Fuller serving as chief architect for the Department of Public Works, built a fleet of federal buildings across the country. Largest was the Langevin Block in Ottawa. The local buildings accommodating federal government functions were also built, including postal and customs facilities, prisons, and courthouses. Anyways, this thing just goes on and on with the Richardsonian Romanesque and the, Queen Anne Revival. I mean, here we go, right? Mostly what we're going to be looking at is the Richardsonian Romanesque, the high Victorian Gothic, and what was the other one? The something revival? I don't even know. I need to take a break from this. I'm baffled, bamboozled, bewildered, and befuddled by all this buffoonery. So what do you say we take a break? It's a lot of B's. It's a lot of alliteration, Frankie. Take it easy. Anyway, we say we take a mid-show break and give you a sneak peek at your upcoming midweek. What do you think of them apples? If you're new to the channel, every Wednesday, a fellow will take a video and he'll upload it there for you. Boom, right there. And it's usually older video. The older, the better. Generally speaking, but not always Canadian content. I try to keep the video Canadian or the music Canadian. If I can do both, guys, it's winner, chicken dinner. I'm winning twice. But, it's usually old black and white footage from in and around 1900. Then, of course, every Friday, boots on the ground, and every Sunday back here for the live. So this will be coming up this coming Wednesday. And what have we got here? What have we got? It's approximately 4 minutes. Yeah, just over 4 minutes. This is a bazaar in the Far East. I believe it's from 1909. 1912, somewhere in that neck of the woods. Anyway, I put it together with a real banger. So smoke them if you got them. If you got some, ear goggles, some good ear cans. Put them on. Crank her up to 11 there, eh, buddy? And we'll see you on the other side of 4 minutes and 20 seconds. See what I did there? All right. We'll see you on the other side. Be right back. Cheers.
swimming in a pool of dreams. Beneath its depths, forgotten streams. Above the city of the evening star. Behind its walls, the grand bazaar. As she walks through its endless maze, cursing those who mistrust her ways. Please, my friend, no matter what she sees, tell my love will come back to me. Doorways filling up the somber light, casting shadows that will raid the night. Along the alleys of the ruling fears, walk the visions that'll cause her tears. Lying still as she wills her glance, through the eyes of a charmer's trance. Please, my friend, no matter what she sees, tell my love will come back to me. Beneath its depths, forgotten streams. Above the city of the evening star. Behind its walls, the grand bazaar. As she walks through its endless maze, cursing those who mistrust her ways. Please, my friend, no matter what she sees, tell my love will come back to me.
All right, and we're back. Are we back? Yes, we are back. Hello, welcome. That was the Tea Party with the Grand Bazaar, and some pretty old-timey Far East Bazaar footage. So a little sneak peek at your upcoming midweek vintage footage. Hey, Morgan's here. Isabella Live 2.0. Welcome. Good to see you, my friend. Oh, yeah, I dig them cats. And, you know, Canadian content there, eh, bod? So, yup. They're pretty good. I've used them a couple times. You know, and they don't get all snooty with it. You know, you don't get a strike and stuff. They're pretty good. They're very loud. Seen them live. They're very, very loud. Really? Morgan says, I know the drummer, Dan Burrows. He lives in town. Wow. Well, there you go. That's pretty awesome, actually. That's pretty awesome. Huh. Hey. Nice. There you go. So welcome back to the show. Frankie here, New West Reset Live, episode 92. Canadian architecture from past world. Thanks for joining me here on this Sunday, November the 17th, 2024. Coming up on the hour, coming up on 6 p.m. local time. It's mountain time out here in southwestern Purdy, Alberta, here in Canadian land. Zig is in the box. Hello, good to see you. Thanks for shooting in there, if you pardon the pun. If you're just joining me, consider doing one of these. And thanks to everybody who's already shared and subscribed. Thanks to everybody for joining me here to wind down your weekend on this Sunday fun day. So in the top half of the show, we looked at a couple of links, Canadian Encyclopedia, Wikipedia, and so on and so forth. So links below for all of that. Let's, what do you say we have a look at some photographs? Eh? What do you think there, buddy? You want to look at some pictures there, buddy? No particular order. And I've got, I don't know, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 20, 22, 24. Like just shy of 30. Just shy of 30 pictures to look at here. Let me just pull that up for you there, eh? And, I figured the fellow's thinking to himself, how can I start this off with a real corker? You know what I'm saying? Like a real attention grabber. And I thought, well, let's go local there, eh, buddy? Let's go Banff, which is, I don't know, hour and a half drive west of a fella. The town of Banff, or is it a city by now? I don't know. But anyways, it's Banff Springs Hotel in Banff, the town of Banff in the Banff National Park. And that's what they were talking about in that article, with these crazy pointed roofs and the roofs and the mansard effect here of this roof with all these dormers. And then, of course, you want to build it all round because that makes it much easier way up in the Canadian Rocky Mountains. Yeah, not a problem there, bud. We can do that right up for you. Build it out of big, I don't know, granite blocks or whatever that is. It's not complicated at all. It's got some nice antiquity going on in there too. And yes, these are Scottish people playing bagpipes. We have that in Canada too. What do you think? Scotland's the only people who get the pipes and the kilts and the sporrans? Come on now, eh? We do it up right here in Canada too, Scottish Highlanders. But it's definitely, yeah, like this is what they're saying is one of those railroad hotels. The railroad built it for their, the passengers going clickety-clack down the track in their cars going across Canadian land. This is the Basilica of Our Lady Immaculate, built in 1876. Excuse me, the Banff Springs was built in 1886. So this one built 10 years earlier. Excuse some of these I had a hard time finding a decent sized photograph. You can see a lot of tech going on up here on this as well. Cymatic window. Niches that still have the statues in them. Guy wonders if those are still in there, if this thing is even still there. I think it is. But all this beautiful work up here, and then these big, I'm thinking, what I'm theorizing, I don't know, but these are, or were at one point, part of the old world. They're wind catchers, basically, or air transfer system, part of the old world air quality control systems in the buildings. Cool, quote unquote, clean air would come in and be circulated around, and then the stale air would be funneled outward. Not using any kind of complicated machines necessarily, just cavities and ducts work built out of stone, in between the layers of brick throughout the walls of the building. And they would have a series of flues like in a chimney and ventilations like, louvers, vents like this. And depending on how you angled them and which way the wind was a-blowing, you could suck in or blow out air. This is the Canadian Museum of Nature in Ottawa. We're just going to build our museum to look like a castle here too. We'll put some of these on the tops of these turrets on either end. Sure, why not? Big, huge arched entrance. I mean, these are the doors here. So, speaking of church, almost church-like in appearance, but not enough to designate it, redesignate it as a church. No, it's a high school. It could have been a high school. They could have said this is a high school, but no, it got to be a museum, I guess. Victoria Memorial Museum, not in Victoria. I believe this is in Ottawa, but again, Queen Victoria. A lot of funny things going on down here, but it's all right. Sure. Not the first time we've seen some windows that are just shooting right down into the ground there. Oh, here's the thumbnail. Oh, yep, this is Canada. This is in Canada. Well, it was. It was partially destroyed in, you guessed it, fire. So some of this all of this is gone, and a lot of all of this is gone. A lot of these finer embellished details, again, excuse, it gets pretty picoulated, but I wanted to use a big wide shot because this thing's so huge that, well, all this tech, all these domes and all these dormers, and every window and door on this thing is arched to the hilt. It's even got these more peaked arches, again, almost very church-like. And then this, I don't even, just unbelievable. Yeah, add B in the box. Yes, that's Disney World, add B says. Yeah. And then you can see it's multiple levels too, right? There's it's hard to see, but there's some kind of lower level that goes underneath here as well. Now, this is the one that we've all seen, the Canadian Parliament building libraries, right? Well, the library survived because it's kind of semi-detached from the back of this thing, but this caught fire and a lot of this fanciness was destroyed. Actually, a lot of the building was destroyed, and they rebuilt it similarly, but it's not quite as fanciful as this. Speaking of fanciful, this is the Cathedral Church of St. James, built in 1850. 1850. And just to give you an idea of, first of all, look at the size of this spire and the scale of it, because here's people down here. So this thing is massive. Massive. Now, this is very impressive, but this in itself has got to be 4 or 5 story high. Here's a 4-story building in the background, and it's dwarfed by this. Mind you, it's in the foreground, but you get an idea of the perspective, even with that into account. Looking like it's been there forever already, with all this ivy growing all the way up here. Got all of this shenanigans going on, and just teched out galore, man. All these nodes, what is going on here? Sheesh. This is just baffling. It's a head scratcher. You know what I'm saying? I don't even know. I don't even know. Old world Mi'kmaq. in the box, in the chat. Hello, hello. How you doing? Good to see you. Kwe, Nita. Well, yeah, I guess those rickety 2x4s and 4x4 scaffolding held together with pounded nails made at the, at the blacksmith or something, or the nail factory. I don't even. This is 1850 in Canada. This isn't 1850 in like the UK or France. This is the Cathedral of Queen Mary, the Cathedral of Mary, Queen of the World. This was built in 1870. Now they're calling it St. James Roman Catholic Cathedral. But as far as I know, this is the Cathedral of Mary, Queen of the World. Unless it was renamed, redesignated, rechristened. I don't know what they do. Re-sanctified? This thing is just incredible, man. First of all, you've got this. I mean, this is just looking like any U.S. Capitol building, looking like something out of Rome. I mean, obviously, they're telling us these are the Catholics, so I guess that just hand waves it away, no problem. But then you got, you got to have a dome with a cupola with another dome. You got to have a couple of those. And then this big, massive, grand entranceway with all of these columns and pillars, the capitals on them. This big, huge pediment, statues all on top of this. Those are gone. If this thing's still here, and again, I didn't really research if they're still around. Maybe I should have. This in the background. What's that? Oh, that's just my house. Just gathering up some ether. It's fine. This is, if this is still standing, these statues are gone. Public safety hazard. The wind could blow them over. I thought you said this thing was built in the 1870s. I mean, shouldn't it be fine? Well, no. Here's the Chateau Frontenac in Quebec City. Now, I like this photo because even though it's a little smaller, it's taken from an angle that we don't normally see it at. Usually we see it either from way down below here or on the, I'm going to call it boardwalk side where the river is here. But again, this is, it's just your typical choo-choo train hotel. Yep, not anything to worry about. Nothing to see here. It's fine. Like, this is just an absolutely gorgeous old world building, with all these turrets on the corners. And then we're just going to make them all different shapes. Some of these will be conical domes. Some of these will be octagonal or pentagonal domes. It's fine. Not a problem. Got these huge up-pointed ones. And then it gets all the tech. Just looking very castle-esque. Nope, that's that Canadian style there, eh? Again, this in the background too, and this way back here. These aren't even the same building. We're just looking at this here now. But wow, 1882. Mansard roof here. Again, all those dormers. And just all this shenanigans, right? Just, oh, look, there's a flag. Well, there you go. That finally puts it to rest, people. All the debunkers have been saying, "Oh, those are just flagpoles." Well, there you go. They were right the whole time. There's a flag. I don't know why you have 11.4 million all over the rest of the building, but that's okay. Confederation Life Building, built in 1890. Excuse all the telegraph wires. But look at this beaut. And again, huge. There's people. They're hard to see, but big, massive, arched entryways with these columns in the front. the corner of the building. Yeah, we're not going to put it 90 degrees. No, it's too easy. We're going to make it curved. We're going to make this corner and this corner back here of the building curved, just to be an extra pain in the assy. Not to mention all this. By the way, just as a reminder out there, everybody, this is Canada. This isn't Canada here. This isn't. We're not in the Czech Republic or Slovakia or Ruska land. Nope. This is just in Ottawa, Canada there, eh, buddy? Right there in Ontario, yo. It's fine. Just looking like something out of I don't know what, a fairy tale novel, a fairy tale pop-up book for kids. Oh, they got Luigi in there to stack it a brick there, Cousin Vinny. We'll stack the brick and we'll just stack it in arches too, because that's easy. 135 years ago. Okay. Well, that's just my house. It's fine. Craigdarroch Castle, 1887. Now, this is what a lot of the Canadian sort of millionaires row type houses would have looked like in all the major cities. Here in Calgary, we had a bunch of these that were for, like, Pat Burns, the meat baron, cattle baron guy, and Mr. So-and-so, this guy and that guy, heads of state too, senators and stuff. This thing is just, yeah, we're just going to put, the balustrade or banister here, and then we'll just carve it all fancy too. Why not? These capitals up here. All of these urn-shaped doodads. Get out of here, man. This tiny little rounded bijou balcony over another larger balcony. Like, just getting silly with it, people. And it's just like, oh, and here's another rounded terrace here. Look, they've got some furniture out there. Another little bijou balcony. Come on, man. Oh, it's just my house. It's fine. I'm just coming in for some tea and some sweets, tea and cookies. Yeah, just sit out on the porch. Sure, it's beautiful out. Actually, we call it a veranda, if you don't mind, because it goes all the way around my castle. This it came up in my search. This is the funicular at Mount Royal Park in Montreal, 1874. I want to look into this a little more because I was born in Montreal and I didn't even realize. I know where Mount Royal Park is in Montreal. Been there many times, but I didn't realize that they used to have an incline, like a funicular like this. So I didn't want to kind of spoil it for myself, but I thought it was a great shot because there you go. There's the tech of the day. But then, this is just going right up the side of Mount Royal, a royal mountain. I mean, it's right there in the name. So yeah, we'll just build these up mountains, but then we still have dirt roads everywhere. We're building this kind of thing, and we don't have indoor plumbing, apparently. This is the Langevin block, 1883. And not only did they get silly with the building itself, I mean, it's gorgeous, but even like all this fencing, all this wrought iron fencing, and there's all this detail. Look at this. Guy going by on his horse and carriage, but look at all these rosette medallions under the windows. Again, the pillars here with capitals on them. Like, just all this extra work. I mean, it's beautiful. I'm glad they did it. Thank you for making this so beautiful. But why? In the early 1880s, Canada became Canada in 1867. Now, that's not to say that, they weren't building anything before. Okay, we're officially a country. Now we can really start building. But kind of, sort of, because that's really the official narrative, is that, once we kind of started to gain our own identity, in the 1860s and 1870s, well, then, we started building like this. It became known as a Canadian style. hotels, government buildings, railroad stations, all with the super, really extremely angled roof in that mansard style, usually with all these dormers. It's usually green. Sometimes it's blue. But I mean, look at this thing. Montreal City Hall, 1878. And I think they would tell us this is, I think, Montreal's second or third city hall. Like they had, town halls, but I mean, city hall. Again, look at these big giant urns here. This big, huge, what they would say is a chimney, but I'm thinking again, air exchange system. Just all this. It's just, I mean, these are the offices of the, the lawgivers, the mayor, and all the decision makers for the city of Montreal. Do they need all that? They're not even seeing it. They're inside. It's these folks down here, but they can't see it from way down there. This guy, just look. He's got his hands in his pockets and he's looking down. He's not looking up at this. It's incredible. 1878. New Brunswick Customs House. The tiny province of New Brunswick. Right there near Vermont and Maine and so on. Beautiful province. Look at this thing. This thing's teched out through the Oiseau. Look at that. Come on. What's going on here? What is all this? It's like, come on, man. You're going to tell me, no, that's just a flagpole, Frankie. That's no kind of tech. Take off. It's got wires coming out of it. This has got some kind of weirdo wires and stuff. I don't know. I wasn't there when they built it. I wasn't there when they hooked this up. All I can say is what it looks like to me is it looks like some kind of ancient technology. Antique technology. Antiquitech. But that in itself, if that wasn't enough, again, mansard roof, all portals, we're just going to throw a schwack of portals on here because that's easy. In 1881, in this tiny peninsula province. Low windows. So low they're having to put like either a window well or some kind of barrier here. You can see there's snow and crud on the ground. You don't do that when you have this kind of weather. New Brunswick gets a lot of wet, heavy snow. You don't believe me? Ask Old World Mi'kmaq. He'll tell you. He knows this area. Just got, a pediment with another pediment on top. Sure, why not? Why not do that? Why not put arched pediments and triangular pediments? With like, what's this? What's going on here? And what's inside it? Just all of this. It's like magic. It's just unbelievably beautiful. It's just too bad I can't zoom in much closer. This is in Galt, Ontario. This is the old Galt post office, looking like a gingerbread house. Look like something your kids will put together over the holiday season. Of course, we got to have all these windows down here that for some reason are blocked in. Yeah, that's how we do it. We build them and then we board them up or block them in. Why build them then? Like some kind of Phoenician shell design up here, maybe, or a fan. I'm not sure what's going on here. Again, it gets a little pixelated. Sorry. That might be a rosette. But just all these angles. Like, this is so unnecessary. You're just creating more headache. You're bursting the budget. It's taking more time, resources. Because don't forget, this is the 1880s now. This is one of the earlier booms in Canada land. So there's a bunch of this stuff going up all over the place around the same time. Whether it's Galt, Toronto, Ottawa, New Brunswick, Newfoundland, Winnipeg. Those articles were talking about Vancouver. Vancouver was a hot spot. And by the 1880s, 1886, the Great Calgary Fire here in Calgary, Alberta. So, right at the year after this, building boom. So how are all these going up, and who's putting them all up that quickly, that many? Stuff like this. Like, get out of here. This is the Ontario Legislative Building. Looking like it's from another world. Looking like it's been there forever with all of this ivy growing on it, or vegetation, whatever it is. I'm assuming it's ivy. Hey, this guy's peeing on the grass. Hey, no peeing on the grass, buddy. Take off. No peeing allowed. Yeah, look at all this ivy or whatever. All the way up to the roof line. Then you got to have these weirdo, I don't know what, I've never seen this before. It's like an elongated, squished dome that's got a funny, I don't know. It looks like the knobs on my stove. That's for the large burner. And that's for the small burner at the back of the stovetop. And then just all this, big stones. Yeah, I'll just build out of big giant stones. We'll make it all round because it's not a pain in the ass. Portals everywhere, arched windows. Come on, man. Whoops, sorry, I keep doing that. Not to mention this in the foreground, too. Lady, I don't know, Lady Liberty or somebody. Athena, or I don't know who that's supposed to be. This is silly, man. Silly. 1886. This is how we build them in Canada. This is Place Viger. Or Place Viger. It's a hotel and train station in Montreal. Hey, you want domes? I'll give you some domes. I'll give you conical domes. I'll give you conical domes all day, buddy. All day. I'll even give you a little peaked roof over all your dormers with a little bit of tech on top. Huh? Why? Because I'm a nice guy. Huh? Jeez. What in the Sam Steel is this thing? And there's your time frame. 1899. No cars yet. Yeah, you have some steam power. Yes, you have steam shovels, steam cranes. And because this is got a train station underneath it, yeah, that's right. There were multiple lower levels under this on the backside of her that house a train station, a multi-platformed train station. So, of course, this is, once again, a railway hotel. So, yeah, they had some steam tech. But, I mean, they don't have trucks delivering the stuff. It's all got to come in by rail. I guess that makes it easy to explain away that, yeah, it's a railroad hotel. So we run the railroad up there, and then we can bring everything in. That makes the logistics easy. All the iron beams, all the stones and bricks, all the glass, all your little bobules and doodads. We bring that all in on the train, buddy. Okay, but even still, somebody's got to put it all together. Somebody's got to build it all in the 1890s. By the way, this is in Montreal, Quebec, right on the St. Lawrence, not far from the Atlantic Ocean. Long, cold winters with a lot of wet, heavy snow. So your build year is cut in half. You're getting 5 months, maybe 6 months build time until your exterior is built enough where you can start working your interior. Then that can go, year round, obviously. But until that gets far enough in the build process, anywhere 5 to maybe 7 months. Oh, here's the Quebec Legislature building in Quebec City, 1887. Don't forget they were building the Chateau Frontenac in Quebec City, roughly in and around the same time, give or take. Look at this beaut. Again, that mansard style roof with dormers. Plus, you got to have, I don't know what these are, beehives? It's all this fancy drapery, carvings, and a clock, and like you name it, it's got it, baby. It's got it. All of this shenanigans, all the tech. Whew. Have mercy, man. And it's built on a hill So then you look right here, plain as the nose on your face. There's a lower level, fancy enough to put, medallions or faces or whatever that is, with a big arched entranceway. What are these bozos up to over here? What are you guys doing? You guys building something? What are you building there? You got some wood. You got some 2x4s and some wood, looks like. So these 5 guys here with this little bit of wood? Voila. There you go. That's who built this. That's who built this building.
You sure about that?
Anyway, moving on. Excuse the pixelation of this one. That's the best I could get. It shows the entire building in its full glory. The Robert Simpson department store building. What's the date on this baby? 1895. 1895. Sorry, I just have to check that. Look at this. The brick all stacked all in here to make this crazy pattern. Arch windows. That just on the side of the building. We're still going to just put arch windows. Why not? Isn't that an extra pain in the... Nah, it's fine. It's fine. We can do it. I mean, we're putting them anyway, so we might as well, right? All of this shenanigans. Pediment here. Pediment here. Columns and arches and keystones and tech. But that's a department store. Robert Simpson. Yeah, there's where you buy your, I don't know, baskets and pans and pots and pans and beaver pelts, I guess. 1895. The Scottish Ontario Chambers. This is in, I think this is in Toronto. I'm not sure why with the odd name, but it's got a CP Rail ticket office here. It's very sus, as the kids would say, with this sloping street. So, what starts off as a small little half door here or something now is a full-sized entranceway by the time you get to the aft corner of the building. Ridiculous. All this coining or gingerbreading around the arches here. Beautiful building. This lets light down into the lower levels because as you can see all along the street frontage here, you got to go up 11.4 million stairs to get in. So the lower levels down here. And this is your main level. So that's not wonky at all. Portals. It's beautiful. Say, Frankie, where is that? Is that in the UK? Is that in Italy? Nope, it's in Canada. 1893. Shaughnessy, the Shaughnessy House. 1875. Again, that's just my house. Don't worry about this beautiful round atrium made out of leaded glass. You know how hard it is to curve leaded glass back in the day? Either fencing all over this thing too. Oh, let's just have some half-buried windows. Don't worry about it. It's fine. It's obviously up again on a hump. The ground is kind of raised here. So one wonders, does this go a bit lower? But I'm not so concerned about this as I'm just looking at all of this, man. Just beautiful. But yeah, it's my house. Sure. Yeah. No, I live here. Yeah. Yeah. Me and the wife and a couple of kids. Just got a dog, actually. Yeah, it's fine. It's just my house. Nothing fancy. Nothing fancy here at all. These sort of wave. What do they call that? It's like a profile of a wave, Yeah, just whack that up in no time in Canada. St. Paul's Cathedral, London, but not London, England land. Nope, Canada land. Built in 1846. 1867, Canada became Canada, just as a reminder. I mean, this in the background is impressive enough. Come on. But this thing. Like, hi, tech anyone? You know, that is all gone now. Like that, these cannot still be here. No, that's got to go. That's the kind of stuff that's got to go. And I bet you this probably even at one time had a huge pointy spire on it too. I'm willing to bet. Like this. But for whatever reason, it was circumcised, decapitated, whatever you want to call it. But, you know, yeah, we're just going to put a little bobule on the top of every single one of these. And we're just going to go nuts with it. Thomas Fuller Building, built in 1886. Not to mention the beautiful fountain on the outside of this thing. It's like water maidens holding up the fountain. I don't know, is that a whale? It might be a whale. A whale. Where do you suppose these stairs are going? What is this? Okay, you're okay. All right, hold on. Okay, hold on. You're walking up the street. Oh, look, there's pavement lights here. There you go. At least what looks like pavement lighting. Anyway, you're walking up the street. Boop, boop, boop. Notice by the way, the incline. So you're walking up the street. Boopity boop, 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 boop. You've got a half step, then a step, then a step. Then you can walk across this platform and then, or step back down and then down one more step. What in the hell is this? I have no idea. It's got to have a railing on it, though, too. That is so distracting that I'm almost missing all of this stuff, which is beautiful. I know there's rosettes and the carvings in this thing. I mean, the arches and the stonework with the coining detail is very, very beautiful because they're, they've got the rough hewn and then the smooth stonework. So all of that is very, very nice. But I keep tripping over this, man. I don't know what it is. This is the customs house, by the way. So if you're crossing the border and they want to hang on to something. See, it was referenced that it was built in 1886, but here it's saying 1884. So I don't know. But that's a lovely building, even with whatever that is. And this too is strange. Oh, look, yeah. Down the alley has always got the wackiest stuff down the back lanes and the side lanes. Oh, look at this Phoenician shell here on the side of this building. All kinds of stuff going on with this joint, man. Wowee. Holistic media in the box. Howdy, howdy. Welcome. I'm having trouble with these. Toronto City Hall, excuse the size of this one, but gives you an idea of what we're dealing with. Look at the height of this tower. Now, I don't know what's going on here. Is it supposed to have a clock in it? I think it does. So is this what they're going to tell us is a construction photo? That's the last thing we got to do is just put the clock in and she's good to go, bud. I mean, maybe. But again, like conical domes. Gets a little pickleated. My apologies, but this tech, huge arched entranceways. It's nuts, man. Not to be outdone, University of the T-Dot, Toronto, Ontario. Let me just give you a moment to look at that. And I'm not even going to say anything. Just look at it. Just look at it. I don't even know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. It just,
Show me all the blueprints.
It's just a head scratcher. Yeah. Kathy Childers in the box. My. Yeah. Right? It both says it all right there. My. Yeah. Wiley says, holy crap, unbelievable. Yeah, I know. Sheesh, says Sig. It's beautiful, right? Yeah, it's because she's Hippie's right. Hippie Shake says, wow, look at the tech on that. Yeah, and just all these little mini domes and just, I mean, come on, man. It's lovely. Still has some shenanigans going on with funny stuff here, but nah, it's fine. It's fine, I guess. But yeah, all these little nodes. What is going on? What is that? There's put some cauliflower up there. It's cauliflower. This is the Vancouver Island Colony Legislative Building. It's funny wording on that. I don't quite get it, but okay. 1864. By the way, that other one was built in 1860. 12 years before Canada became Canada. Toronto's already getting a university, and they're already just building stuff like this. Or sorry, 7 years before Canada became Canada. This one 3 years before. So they're laying down laws with, they're passing legislative stuff, but we're still a colony at this point. But yeah, this isn't tough to build. That's not a problem. It's not a problem at all. At B, just plain as the nose on your face. It's a castle. That's right, I said it. Again, apologies, gets a little pickleated, but 1864. So again, horse and buggy, a little bit of a funny angle in the street. Looks like there might be paving stones in the street. There might be pavers here or brick or something. It's hard to tell. But look at this up here too. And it's like, come on, the whole roof of this thing. Like it's all kind of like curvy and you know what I mean? It's all like, it looks like the lid on Nana's candy dish. You know what I'm saying? The Victoria Parliament Building, ladies and gentlemen, 1893. This is in Victoria, British Columbia, which I will remind you is not on mainland British Columbia. Oh, no, it's over on Vancouver Island. And there's no bridge. It's all ferry. You can only get there by water. This is something else. This thing is off the chain. And it just keeps going too. You can see like some of it is connected to other buildings. So it just keeps going. Like this building comes outward towards us. This does too. And they're connected by pedways or whatever. But hey, do you like domes? All right, there you go. Do you like cupolas? Sure. Oh, there you go. We're not even going to just do a regular like smooth dome. No, we're going to do these teardrop effects here. We're going to do these sort of like Harlequin designs or diamond shapes all in here. Get out of here. We'll throw some portals up there for good measure. We'll do the trio here, like we always say. Yeah, and we'll put a little cupola on top of the cupola, basically, because we're Canadian and we have an inferiority complex. So we got to try to outdo everyone. We're going to put cupolas with domes on top of what are essentially cupolas with domes. We're just going to get silly with it. Again, it's all built out of contrasting smooth and rough-hewn stone, or at least that's what they say. But come on, man. Statues and it's crazy. Now, it has been trimmed. So for those of you that are yelling at your computer right now, Frankie, vanilla sky, Yeah, kind of, because it's been trimmed for a postcard. So they trim out all the background and yada, yada, yada. So who knows? So yeah, like these might have like, antenna things sticking out of them or something that they just kind of cropped out to make it easier for the postcard or the photograph. That's right, Kathy. Yeah, we're overcompensating. Holistic Media says, wow, look at that. Matt Fiddler in the box. I'm 67, but like to live long enough to get the lowdown on how they did all this unbelievable architecture. Say it again, brother. Say it again. At B, everyone knows transporting millions of stones is easier by boat. Yeah, absolutely. Just throw them on the boat there, eh, bot? Should be fine there. It's not too choppy out there at all. I mean, I could just look at this all day. 1893. Windsor Station in Montreal. Again, another hotel with a train station underneath it. Built in 1888. No, this was built in 1888. This, it's pretty hard to say. I'm not sure. Like if somebody pointed that and said, "Hey, buddy, you know that was built in 1888," I'd be like,
What?
because that's basically it. And again, there's your level of tech, horse and buggy. Now, mind you, these are hansom cabs because it's a train station down here. So again, multiple lower levels in behind this thing. Put a big massive tower on it with all this stacked whatever, stone, masonry, brick, I'm not even sure. Some kind of weirdo grotesques or gargoyles on here. Every window's arched, every door's arched. Why not? Smooth and rough hewn again. Man, oh man, let's throw some ugly awnings in there. These and this, yes, sure. Just notice here this little, it's just got so much going on. Wow. That's incredible. Sorry, some of these photos aren't the best, right? Because they're taken from old glass plate negatives and whatnot. Taken from old postcards or, it is what it is. Some of these are from the Detroit Publishing Company, and I don't trust those buggers. By the way, what are you Americans doing up here in Canada land claiming all our photographs, eh? You got plenty to look at down there in Michigan land. No, you decided you'd knock it all down over there in Detroit, huh? Yeah. Well, I'll save the best for last, people. In my opinion, one of the most beautiful buildings that has ever been erected and then destroyed here in Canada. The Winnipeg City Hall. Hey, if you're getting married soon, just get your wedding cake made to look like this. Your new bride-to-be will be completely over the moon with how exquisitely beautiful that wedding cake would be. Because that's what it looks like to me. It looks like a wedding cake. Double sheesh. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Cousin Vinny says, I love showing this one to normies. Yeah. Built in 1884 in basically what is the gateway of Canada between the east and the west. Winnipeg is almost exactly geographically right smack dab in the middle of Canada from east to west. So at one point, this is the wild frontier, and 1884 is not far beyond the wild frontier. I mean, there's still cowboys and Indians and buffalo and all that. I ain't kidding you. I ain't even playing around with you now. There's still, like outside of the city of Winnipeg, there's cowboys and Indians. But meanwhile, you have this. We're going to build you some kind of funny shaped conical dome with tech on it. Then we're going to put pediments on it. and have it suspended by columns or pillars on top of a mansard-style roof that has these and this, like we put little pediments here with the whatever this is, a rosette or something. All this stone or brick is all stacked. Like, again, sorry for the quality of this photo. You can find better quality photos online, but it's this puts it in the context. Okay, you've got the ladies with their, parasols, and guys with their hats, and you got the electric streetcar trolley, and you got horses and buggies in the background, and that's it. That is it. And then they're building this. So there's more high def photos there, but not quite in this context. Even with this in the front, got some kind of fancy wrought iron fencing around whatever the heck this is supposed to be. Probably this is the guy that founded Winnipeg. I don't know. This is just, it's a slobber knocker. It's gobsmacking. I just don't know. I never get tired of looking at this thing. It looks like it should be in Russia. This looks like it should be in Russia to me, or Ukraine, Czech, Slovakia, Transylvania, like, what I'm saying? Like that Balkan, Eastern European, you know what I'm talking about. That's what it looks like it to me. Nope. Right where the prairies begin after the Canadian Shield, or just after the Great Lakes, in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. And I'm not making fun of Winnipeg. Winnipeg is still, to me, a lovely city. But I think Winnipeg was one of those old world golden white cities, or glorious cities, golden cities of the past, like Chicago and San Francisco. These World Fair cities that we see. And something happened with Winnipeg. They effed it up real bad for some reason. But this thing is a beauty. Like, it's just, you just look at it and you just don't even know what to say. I don't know what to say. I just really don't. And again, look at the stair. You got to go all the way up here, then all the way up here just to get in. So what's all down in here? Why isn't this your main entrance? It's right at street level. You got all this fancy, groundskeeping and maintenance, landscaping all done nice. Who knows? Who knows what lies below this? But yeah, there it is, and there it be. The Winnipeg City Hall, built in 1884. Just, yeah. I mean, absolutely. I mean, you just look at it. And again, even if a lot of this stuff, eventually, like in the after WW1, right? In the late teens, early 1920s, when, which was, a reset in itself. You get that sort of where they come along and they take these buildings and they kind of embellish them to try to emulate the old world buildings. Even that is refined. They basically didn't really start doing that until sort of like the postmodern, like, brutalism after WW2, really. Then they just started making everything square and boxy and kind of fugly. But no, unfortunately, Holistic Media asking a very pertinent question. Is it still there? No. Unfortunately, no longer standing. Yeah, I agree. Hippie Shakes' beauty mattered back then. Yeah, well, aesthetic, positive energy, just from the aesthetics of the place. Not for anything else. I mean, I feel good just looking at it. I just try to forget that it's gone, because then that's kind of a bummer, because that's always in the back of your mind. But yeah, see there, that'll tell you. So Vincent says right there, then he saw then I show them the piece of shit box that's there now. Yeah, so what's on the same spot as that glorious old Winnipeg City Hall. Yeah. Yeah, it's just garbage what's there now, that's for sure. Absolute garbage. Anyway, so there you go. That's some Canadian architecture from a past world, or a time gone by for sure here. And that's just a small sample. There's dozens and dozens more. I mean, this is probably the third or fourth Canadian architecture themed live stream that I've done. I know you could just go on and on. So I think I'm getting ready to wind this thing down here. We're coming up on 7 p.m. local time. Guy's going to grab himself some dinner. I got some leftovers from last night there, eh, buddy? I got some homemade teriyaki stir-fried chicken with broccoli. And my brother, he and I are roommates, and he's home today. So he made a whole bunch of homemade pizzas from scratch. The dough, the sauce, everything from scratch. Well, he doesn't grind the meat to put in the pepperoni. That he gets at the shop, and he doesn't, make his own cheese or anything. But so I got that waiting for me. So, not that I don't enjoy your company or anything like that, but if you haven't heard my stomach going in the background by now, then I'm shocked. I'm in shock and awe right now. But anyways, links below as a reminder for everything that we shared with the Canadian Encyclopedia and, of course, the Wackypedia, with the Canadian Victorian era architecture. And then, of course, that one architect with all of his shenanigans story. And again, as a reminder, fellas, BitChute, MeWe, email, it's down in the links below as well, and my location map. And if you care to, donate to the manicure fund, link for that below as well. And of course, over on the Bumble. So, you know what? Before we go, let's see what I've got to share here. I'll leave this thing with a bit of a laugh, as I like to do. By the way, yeah, I have all my friends down in the U.S. there. It's been, almost 2 weeks now since your election. So hopefully everything's going okay down there for you, and there aren't too many mostly peaceful protests going on. I think it's just a lot of angry people shaving their heads for some reason seems to be a thing. I don't know. I thought that was just a thing if you wanted to, if you had the big C, the cancer, or you wanted to support somebody, a loved one or a friend that had the cancer, you might shave your head. But apparently people are getting ticked. They're ticked off about the Donald, the 47th POTUS. 47th POTUS, is it? Hey, Donald, what do you think of Canada? Wonderful country. Absolutely wonderful country. Beautiful people. Beautiful people up there in Canada. Fantastic, right up there. Been there many times. Not so sure about that Trudy fella, but anyway. Yeah, there's a lot of this kind of stuff going on.
So pissed that Trump would, shaving their heads, screaming that they're going to go on a sex strike. You can't threaten people by taking something away that no one wanted in the first place. Also, I don't know what you're doing going on a sex strike. Some of you really need a hunger strike.
Bazinga! That's good. That is good. It's funny because it's true. Trudy is a girl's name, but Trudeau, that's what I call Justin Trudeau, is Trudy. Good old Trudy. Daphne's in the box, sneaking in there. Daphne Blakey. Didn't even see you shooting in there in the box. Hello, welcome. Yeah, I just call him Trudy. Everybody in my immediate circle knows exactly who I mean when I go, yeah, good old Trudy's at it again. People know exactly who I mean. So there you go. That is going to seal the deal here tonight for Frankie. New West Reset Live. Episode 92, Canadian Architecture from a Past World. Of course, as a reminder, every Sunday we go live with the live show. Every Wednesday, vintage footage video. You got your sneak peek of that earlier here in the show. And Boots on the Ground Friday. And your next couple of Friday Boots on the Ground videos are probably going to be the last two you see without snow for a while, because some of this is coming. So I got to prepare. Doesn't that look fun? Oh, that looks so fun. Nope, not a bit. All right, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to go eat. I'll let you fine folks get back to it. Thank you very much once again for winding down your weekend here with yours truly. Muchly appreciated. Don't forget to do, all the things, all the stuff down here. Helps a guy out as we make our way toward 2,000 subscribers. Hello, and thank you and welcome. By the way, speaking of subscribers, to all the new friends of the channel, all the new names and faces, been seeing poking around here, joining in on the shenanigans. Good to see all of you. And yeah, there you go. So enjoy the rest of your weekend, or some of you might even be the Monday right now. Ugh. So enjoy that. Sorry. So there you go. Thanks again, everyone. And until the next one, take care out there and have yourselves a good one. All right. Cheers.
It's a mystery. It's a mystery wrapped in a riddle inside an enigma.